All right, so that's we're looking at section 3.8, inference for experiments. So this word inference is a huge topic in this class. And the almost whole second quarter, second graded period is going to be on inference. Chapters 6 through 8 are all on inference. 9 if we get to it, but I don't think so with this COVID schedule. Okay, so be aware of that. So first of all, how do we create a completely randomized design? Well, it's this flow chart here. So if we take a look, we're going to start with our subjects every time, number and who they are. We're going to always randomly assign them, and then this is going to break off into your groups. Now, there's not always just 2 groups, so not always 2 groups. There could be 3 groups, there could be 4 groups, okay? So the number of arrows depending on how many groups, how many different treatments you're looking at. Typically, though, you want your groups split evenly. Now, this note down here says there's no requirement that treatment groups be exactly the same size, but there are some statistical advantages. So try your best to make them equal. So again, 20 can go into 10 and 10. Then we have our treatment groups. Notice it says treatment 1, treatment 2. This was the caffeine or not caffeine example, if you remember, about it was cola with caffeine, cola with not caffeine. And then this is your response variable. What are you measuring? And again, write it out. So we're comparing the change in pulse rates, okay? And this word compare is an important word here. Okay, so let's take a look at our first example, I think. Yes, so example 1 says, what distracts drivers? Is talking on a cell phone while driving more distracting than talking to a passenger? David Strayer and his colleagues at the University of Utah used 48 undergraduate students as subjects in an experiment. The researchers randomly assigned half of the subjects to drive in a simulator while talking on a cell phone, and the other half to drive in the simulator while talking to a passenger. One response variable was whether or not the driver stopped at a rest area that was specified by researchers before the simulation started. Outline a completely randomized design for this experiment. So again, the idea is about being distracted. So say there's a rest area coming up. If I'm talking on a cell phone versus talking to a passenger, am I going to recognize and stop at that rest area more or less, one or the other? I think they think cell phone's more distracting. So, when you're on your cell phone, you're not aware of your surroundings. When you're talking to a passenger, it's not a big deal. You are aware of your surroundings. But anywho, it's not about the final result. It's about how do we create or do this completely randomized design. So again, the first box is always your subjects, and that would be 48 undergraduate students. I'm going to abbreviate undergrad students. Again, when you do this in Elastic, you're going to be able to actually type in the boxes. The boxes will not be big enough. Just keep typing. Okay, so that's our subjects. Then we always random assignment. We always do random assignment every time. And now we look at our 2 groups. So I always want you to put group 1. And in group 1, we are looking at 24 undergraduate students. We're just splitting it in half. So 24 students or 24. Yeah, I put students. You could put undergraduate students, whatever you want to put, 24 students. And then group 2 is the other 24 students. And again, if this was an odd number, so say 49, one group would have 25, one would have 24. It doesn't matter which one's which. Okay, you're fine. So then so this is group 2. So then group 1 gets treatment 1. And treatment 1 is going to be the cell phone, okay? So again, everything is the same except for cell phone versus passenger. So you don't have to write out a whole bunch for the treatment, just put the main idea. So cell phone. And then treatment 2 is the passenger. And again, in Elastic, if you want to put a dash, because it's going to be like left to right, it's not going to be a box like this. So if you put group 1 dash 24 students, it's fine. And then what are we looking at? What are we comparing? We're going to compare and whether or not the driver stopped. Compare whether or not the driver stopped at a rest area. And again, that can be kind of long sometimes. Just do your best. But again, use that word compare, right? Compare whether or not the driver stopped at a rest area. Okay, objective 1, done. Objective 2 is coming.